Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive? You guys sent over some info about these OCOOPA MagTwins hand warmers, and
OCOOPA MagTwins.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm kind of intrigued by them. The marketing copy looks like it might have been AI generated, which is a whole other conversation we could have. But the thing is, these MagTwins, they're not just hand warmers, they're also portable chargers.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, multifunctional right from the start.
Yeah, it's a pretty smart move by OCOOPA. You know, I mean, people are always looking for things that are efficient and convenient these days.
For sure.
And this is like two essential things all in one. You can keep your hands warm and keep your devices charged all with the same device.
Yeah, and the design is what really caught my attention.
Yeah.
You know, these things are magnetic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they can like snap together or you can use them independently.
Interesting.
I'm kind of curious, how practical is that in real life?
Well, I think that actually opens up a lot of possibilities.
Right.
You know, like imagine you're skiing, you could snap them together to keep both hands warm.
Oh, that makes sense.
All right. Well, let's say you're hiking and you need to check your phone for like a map or something. You could use one of the MagTwins as a charger
Oh,
and then use the other one to keep one hand warm.
smart.
But I did see in the marketing copy that there were some concerns about how durable the magnetic connection is over time.
Yeah, I saw that too. Have you actually seen any reports or reviews about that?
You know, it's probably worth doing some more research and seeing what people are saying.
Yeah.
You know? Like how well those magnets hold up with regular use.
Yeah, because if they detach really easily, it's not going to be that practical.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's talk about the heat.
Okay.
The marketing material says it has a 20% increase in power density compared to other hand warmers, and it can get up to 137 degrees Fahrenheit,
Wow.
which, as someone who doesn't know much about hand warmers, I'm kind of like, what does that even mean?
Well, basically it means they heat up really fast.
Okay.
You can think of it like a car engine,
Oh.
you know, like a really high performance engine. It's packing a lot of power into a small space.
Yeah.
And 137 degrees, that's pretty hot for a hand warmer.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great for those times when you're out in the cold and need to warm up quickly. Like if you're at freezing temperatures, or if you just have hands that are always cold.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So fast heating, high temps, I got it. But this portable charger function, I'm really curious about that.
Yeah.
It's a 5,000 milliamp battery,
Okay.
which they say can keep your hands warm for 8+ hours. Or you can use it to fully charge your phone at least once. So I'm wondering, would you actually rely on this as your only charger? Like, let's say you're on a weekend camping trip or something.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
You know, 5,000 milliamp has a decent amount,
Yeah.
especially for a hand warmer.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'd rely on it as my main charger for a whole weekend,
Yeah.
especially if you're charging multiple devices.
Right.
I think it would be better as like a backup power source, you know, for emergencies or short trips. I also saw in the marketing copy that some users said the battery life was shorter than they expected
Oh, really?
and that it took a long time to charge. So those are definitely things to consider.
Yeah, that's good to know. I always tend to pack way too many chargers, so
Right.
it's good to be aware of those limitations.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so switching gears a little bit,
Yeah.
let's talk about the durability.
Okay.
They made these with an aluminum housing and the charging ports are dust protected.
Yeah. Does that seem like it's built for the outdoors to you?
Oh, absolutely. The aluminum's going to hold up way better to like drops and bumps
Right.
compared to plastic.
Yeah.
And having those ports protected is super important if you're using it in places that are dusty or wet.
For sure.
It seems like OCOOPA was really thinking about how people would use these in like real life situations.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know?
You don't want a hand warmer that's going to break
Right.
the first time you drop your backpack.
Exactly. And it's those little details that can really make a product last longer
Yeah.
and make it more enjoyable to use.
For sure. And speaking of being responsible, these MagTwins are also carbon-free certified.
Oh, wow.
I'm seeing that more and more these days.
Yeah.
But I'm always a little confused about what it actually means.
Yeah. So basically, it's a way for companies to take responsibility for how their products impact the environment.
Okay.
So by getting this certification, OCO is saying that they've measured,
Okay.
reduced, and offset the carbon footprint of these hand warmers.
So it's not just about like making the product,
Yeah.
it's about the whole process,
It is.
even after it leaves their factory.
Exactly. It might involve things like using renewable energy in the manufacturing process,
Bro.
planting trees to absorb carbon dioxide, or investing in other projects that reduce greenhouse gas emissions.
Wow, so they're basically trying to balance out the carbon that's released when they make the hand warmers.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
It's not just a marketing term. It's an actual commitment to sustainability.
Right.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I think it's great.
So we've covered a lot, but it seems like these MagTwins are more than just a hand warmer.
Yeah.
It's warmth, it's charging capability, and it's a responsible approach all in one.
It definitely shows that people are looking for products that do multiple things that are durable and that are eco-conscious.
And to think it all came from AI-generated marketing copy.
Right.
That's like another whole layer to this deep dive.
It is.
What does it even mean to use AI to make these super persuasive product descriptions?
That's a great question. I mean, on the one hand, it could make marketing more efficient and targeted,
Right.
but it also brings up questions about authenticity and transparency.
Yeah, for sure. It makes you wonder, as AI gets better,
Yeah.
how are we even going to know if we're talking to a human or a machine?
Right.
And what's that going to do to our trust in the information that we're getting?
Yeah, it's a bit of a slippery slope, for sure. I mean, the fact that AI can create this really realistic and persuasive content is kind of exciting,
Yeah.
but also a little scary.
Yeah.
It just shows how important critical thinking is. And being media literate in this digital age, we really need to be aware of the tools that are being used to influence us,
Right.
whether it's AI or just regular marketing techniques.
I totally agree. It's a reminder to always dig deeper.
Yes.
Do your research.
Yeah.
And not just believe everything you read, especially when a product sounds as good as these MagTwins.
Exactly. And you know what's interesting about these MagTwins?
Yeah.
Is that they kind of represent this bigger trend of combining personal comfort with technology.
Oh.
We're seeing this more and more, where technology isn't just for entertainment or communication, it's actually being used to improve our basic human needs.
Like staying warm when it's cold out.
Exactly. It's all about integrating these improvements into our lives in a seamless way. And MagTwins are a perfect example. You get the warmth, the charging capability, and even that eco-consciousness, all in this one small device.
It's like they knew what we needed before we even knew we needed it.
Right.
It's giving me like future of personal tech vibes.
Totally.
And I love that they thought about the environment with that carbon-free certification.
Yeah.
Seems like a responsible move.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's a good sign. I think consumers are getting more picky, and they want companies to be more transparent.
Right.
They want products that are functional and stylish, sure,
Yeah.
but they also want products that align with their values.
Exactly. It's not just about what a product does, it's about what it represents. And it seems like in this case, OCO is really trying to strike that balance between innovation, practicality, and responsibility.
Yeah, and that's a balance that more companies are going to have to figure out
For sure.
if they want to stay relevant and competitive.
Yeah, so going back to our listener who might be thinking about buying these MagTwins,
Yes.
what are the main things they should keep in mind?
Well, first off, the dual functionality is definitely a plus,
Right.
but I would do some research on the battery life and charging time just to make sure it fits your needs.
Yeah, you never know how a product's actually going to work until you use it.
Exactly. And second, those magnets are a cool feature,
Yeah.
but I would look into how durable they are in the long term before you go all in.
Okay. And lastly, even though the carbon-free certification is a good thing,
Yeah,
it's important to remember that every product has some impact on the environment.
that's true. It's a step in the right direction,
Yeah,
but it's not a free pass to consume without thinking about the consequences.
absolutely. We need to be informed and thoughtful about the choices we make.
I agree.
That's what's going to make a real difference.
Yeah, well said. This deep dive has definitely given me a lot to think about,
Me too.
from the specifics of hand warmers and portable chargers to the bigger picture of AI sustainability and the future of consumer tech. What a journey.
Yeah, it's amazing how something as simple as a hand warmer can lead to such a big discussion.
It really is. It just goes to show that there's always more to discover, more to learn,
Right.
and more to question.
For sure. And speaking of questions,
Yeah.
we haven't even talked about the price of these MagTwins.
Oh, that's right.
I'm curious how they compare to other hand warmers on the market.
That's a great point. We've talked about all the features and benefits, but the cost is a major factor for anyone.
Yeah, and it's not just the initial price.
No.
It's about the value you get over time.
Exactly.
Are these built to last? Will you need to replace them often?
Those are really important things to think about. It's about finding that sweet spot between affordability, functionality, and durability.
Exactly. You don't want to invest in something that's going to break or become outdated after just a few uses.
Especially with something as important as staying warm and connected.
Right. You want something you can rely on.
Exactly. And speaking of relying on these MagTwins,
Yeah.
something else I'm curious about is the safety features.
Oh, yeah.
Do they have anything to prevent them from overheating or malfunctioning?
Yeah, that's a great question and something people should definitely look into.
For sure.
Safety should always come first,
Absolutely.
especially with something that generates heat.
Exactly. Look for things like automatic shutoff, temperature regulation,
Right.
and certifications that show the product meets safety standards.
It's better to be safe than sorry, especially when you're dealing with electronics
Right.
and potentially extreme temperatures.
Well said. Informed consumers make good choices.
And informed consumers ask great questions. So to our listener out there, we want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about getting a hand warmer that can also charge your phone? What are your priorities when it comes to winter gear or tech gadgets in general?
And while you're thinking about those questions, here's one last thing to ponder.
Okay.
How do you think this increasing combination of comfort and technology is going to change what we expect from everyday products in the future?
It's like we're getting closer to a world where our devices just know what we need
Right.
and take care of it for us without us even having to think about it. Imagine a future where discomfort is a thing of the past
Wow.
because technology has figured out how to fix it before we even notice.
That's an amazing thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's not just about personal comfort.
Right.
Think about how this could change healthcare,
Oh, wow.
accessibility, even how we interact with the environment.
It's mind-blowing when you start thinking about all the possibilities. But it also makes you wonder, at what point does this integration become too much? Do we really want to live in a world where technology is constantly controlling our experiences?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? How do we use technology to make our lives better without becoming completely dependent on it?
Right, or losing touch with the real world.
Exactly.
It's a conversation that's only going to become more important as technology keeps evolving. And it's a conversation worth having, even if there aren't any easy answers.
I agree. The more we talk about these things, the better decisions we'll make
For sure.
about the role we want technology to play in our lives.
Well said. I think we've reached a good point to wrap up this deep dive.
Yeah, I think so too.
We've covered a lot, from the details of hand warmers to the big picture of AI and the future of tech.
It's been great exploring these ideas with you.
Same here.
Hopefully our listeners feeling a little warmer,
Yeah.
a little more informed, and a lot more curious about the world around them.
I couldn't have said it better myself. So to our listener, stay curious, stay warm.
Yes.
And I'll catch you on the next deep dive.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah. It really makes you think, like, as AI gets more and more advanced, how will we even know if we're interacting with a real person or a machine?
It's true. And what does that mean for, like,
Right.
how much we trust the information we're getting?
Exactly. It's a slippery slope.
It is. It really is. It kind of highlights the need for critical thinking, and being media literate,
For sure.
especially now with all this digital stuff.
Yeah.
It's like we have to be aware of all the ways people are trying to influence us,
Right.
whether it's AI or just good old-fashioned marketing.
I totally agree. It's a good reminder to always, like, double check things,
Sure.
do your own research, and not just take everything at face value, especially when a product sounds as amazing as these MagTwins.
Exactly. And speaking of the MagTwins,
Yeah.
one thing that I find really interesting about them is how they represent this bigger trend
Okay.
of technology and personal comfort coming together.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, we're seeing more and more products that aren't just about entertainment or communication. They're about, like, improving our basic human needs.
It's like staying warm on a cold day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about making those improvements a natural part of our lives. The MagTwins are a great example of that.
Right.
You get the warmth, the charging capability, and even that eco-friendly aspect all in one little device.
It's like they knew what we wanted before we even realized we wanted it.
Right. It's
Yeah.
very future of personal tech.
Totally. And I'm glad they considered the environmental impact with the carbon-free certification. It seems like a step in the right direction.
Definitely, consumers are becoming more aware.
Yeah.
And they're demanding more transparency from companies.
Right.
They don't just want something that works well and looks good. They want products that reflect their values too.
Exactly. It's not just about what a product does, but what it stands for.
Right.
And in this case, it seems like OCOOPA is trying to find that balance between innovation, practicality, and responsibility.
Yeah. And that's something more and more companies are going to have to figure out.
For sure.
If they want to stay in the game.
Absolutely. So let's bring it back to our listener who's maybe thinking about buying these MagTwins.
Okay.
What are the key takeaways? What should they keep in mind?
Well, first, the dual functionality is a big plus.
Right.
But I would do some research on the battery life and charging time, just to make sure it'll actually work for you.
Yeah, because real-world use can be different from what the marketing says.
Exactly. And second, those magnets are a cool feature.
Yeah.
But I'd look into how they hold up over time before you fully commit.
Okay. And lastly, even though the carbon-free certification is a good thing, we have to remember that every product has some impact on the environment.
That's true. It's a step forward, but it's not an excuse to just consume without thinking.
Right. We need to be aware of our choices.
Definitely.
And make them carefully.
I agree. Being informed is key.
Well said. This deep dive has really given me a lot to think about.
Me too.
From the nitty-gritty details of hand warmers to the big picture of AI, sustainability, the future of consumer tech, it's been quite a journey.
It has. It's amazing how a simple product like a hand warmer can spark such a wide-ranging discussion.
I know. It just goes to show that there's always more to uncover, more to learn, more to question.
For sure. And speaking of questions, we haven't even talked about the price of these MagTwins.
Oh, that's true. I'm curious how they compare to other hand warmers out there.
Right. We've talked about all these features and benefits, but the cost is a big deal for most people.
Exactly. And it's not just about the upfront cost. It's about the value you get in the long run.
Exactly.
Will these things last? Will you have to replace them all the time?
Those are important considerations. It's about finding that sweet spot between cost, functionality, and durability.
Right. You don't want to buy something that's going to break or become obsolete after a few uses.
Especially for something as essential as staying warm and connected.
For sure. You want something you can depend on.
Exactly. And speaking of depending on these MagTwins, I'm also wondering about the safety features.
Oh, right.
Like, do they have anything to prevent overheating or malfunctions?
That's a great question, and something consumers should definitely research.
Absolutely.
Safety should always be a top priority.
For sure.
Especially when you're dealing with something that produces heat.
Definitely. Look for things like automatic shutoff, temperature regulation, and certifications that show the product meets safety standards.
It's always better to be safe than sorry, especially with electronics and potentially extreme temperatures.
Well said. Informed consumers make smart choices.
And informed consumers ask good questions. So to our listeners out there, we want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered a hand warmer that can also charge your phone? What are your priorities when you're choosing winter gear or tech gadgets in general?
And while you're thinking about those questions, here's one last thing to ponder. How do you think this growing trend of combining comfort and technology will change our expectations for everyday products in the future?
Yeah, it's like we're on the verge of a world where our devices anticipate and cater to our needs, almost seamlessly blending into our lives. Imagine a future where discomfort is a thing of the past because technology has found a way to address it before we even notice.
It's a fascinating concept, isn't it? And it goes beyond just personal comfort. Think about how this could revolutionize healthcare accessibility, even our relationship with the environment.
It's mind-blowing when you really start to think about the possibilities. But then you also wonder, at what point does this integration become too much? Like, do we really want to live in a world where technology is always mediating our experiences?
That's the question, isn't it? It's finding that balance between using technology to enhance our lives and not becoming overly reliant on it, or detached from the physical world.
It's a conversation that's going to become more and more relevant as technology keeps advancing. And it's definitely a conversation worth having, even if there aren't easy answers.
Absolutely. The more we discuss these issues, the more likely we are to make informed decisions about how we want technology to be a part of our lives.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's a good time to wrap up this deep dive.
Yeah, sounds good.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from the specifics of hand warmers to the broader implications of AI and the future of technology.
It's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
Likewise, hopefully our listeners are feeling a bit warmer, a bit more informed, and a lot more curious about the world around them.
I couldn't have said it better myself. So to our listeners out there, stay curious, stay warm, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.
See you next time.